Last time, we began a story where Goku went Super Saiyan way earlier on than normal. It helped him defeat King Piccolo, but it still doesn't seem like he has full control over the form. But as we get towards the 23rd World Tournament, what's going to change now? We'll be covering all that and more in the second part of What If Goku Went Super Saiyan Early. Goku's training with Kami begins. Of course, Kami has a lot to teach him, but one of the main things they want to work on is that form that he has, Super Goku, whatever it is. Still, nobody knows what it is, so they don't even know how to control it or how to work it, or why Goku even transformed in the first place. Is it something other humans can get too? Or is it something exclusive to Goku? He is kind of a unique case. I mean, he can transform into a great ape when he has his tail. So maybe it's because of that, his weird genetic makeup, and the fact that he's so unique from other humans. No one knows he's a Saiyan yet. So Kami wants to try and tap into that form and figure out what makes it work. Mainly for Goku's sake, because not only will this make him a stronger warrior, but it will give him better control. But besides that, he also learns a lot from Kami because he's a great teacher to begin with. It's not just raw power that Goku's getting from this. He's refining himself even further as a martial artist. Plus, with Goku being a lot stronger here and having Super Saiyan, when he goes into the Room of Spirit and Time, he's actually able to last in there a little bit longer, but eventually taps out. He lasts a few months though, which is longer than before. In case you don't remember, he actually did go into the Room of Spirit and Time as a kid. It's just that he couldn't be in there too long. But amidst his training here, he actually does that. Soon enough, we get to the 23rd World Tournament. And up until the final match with Goku and Piccolo, nothing really changes because this doesn't affect anyone else's strength. Well, I guess one thing that would change is that Goku's matches would go way easier. Although he does hold himself back to try and have a fun fight, but still. It's not like he was necessarily struggling in the first place. And against Piccolo, he hopes for a good challenge, but he is confident that he'll win. He holds back Super Saiyan, of course, because he wants to test Piccolo's power. If he just goes in with Super Saiyan, he'll win way too easily. He's been waiting for this fight with Piccolo, and he thinks Piccolo will be able to impress him. But even when holding back Super Saiyan, he's way too strong for Piccolo. And Piccolo's not satisfied, not only because he's losing here, but the fact that Goku's not using his full power. He tells Goku to use the same power that he used to defeat King Piccolo. Of course he remembers it and knows it. He's not going to be embarrassed like this. He wants Goku to defeat him at his full strength. In a brilliant display, much to everyone's shock, he goes Super Saiyan. For all his friends looking on, they're a bit concerned seeing this again, but Goku seems way more tame in this form. And not just that, he seems to have some sort of control over it. Now, it's not 100% efficient still, but he could use it willingly whenever he wants. The reason he was acting so differently before was because of all the intense emotions he was feeling when Krillin died. Here, he's still Goku. Sure, there's a bit of maliciousness within him when he's using Super Saiyan, which is why he couldn't ride on Nimbus. But it doesn't affect him at all. He's just using it like it's any other thing. This is also a big shock to Chi-Chi, who still did propose to Goku here, but is confused on why Goku suddenly turned blonde and looks like a delinquent. Is she marrying a delinquent and she didn't know it? Naturally, the fight doesn't last much longer. Goku basically one-shots Piccolo, but still acknowledges Piccolo's strength. Even though he had to hold back, that still was a really fun battle. Goku wins the 23rd World Tournament, and Piccolo ends up leaving, promising Goku that he'll come back one day and defeat him. He knows that power now, and he's going to be able to get strong enough to defeat Goku while using that form. He'll make it his life's mission. Whatever power that is, he'll overcome it. So, pretty uneventful World Tournament. But Piccolo ends up surviving like normal, knowing that he's not going to be able to win here. So, while he's tempted to try and fight back after he loses, he knows that's not a good idea. He needs to get a lot stronger. And with Goku still engaged to Chi-Chi, that leads us to the few years time skip that happens after the fact. This is where we'll start to have some pretty major changes. Well, not right off the bat, because nothing really happens over this time skip besides the fact that Gohan's born, which doesn't change at all. Now, the question is if Goku going Super Saiyan so early on would affect Gohan at all, and it actually might not change too much, at least not right off the bat. So, for one, I debated whether or not Gohan would even be born with the tail, because that's supposedly a recessive trait, and that didn't apply to Goten and Trunks. But Goku going Super Saiyan here probably wouldn't affect that at all. Weirdly enough, with Gohan's tail being a recessive trait, it just seems so unlikely that he was born with it in the first place that I guess for this scenario we could still keep it here. Because he's seemingly a rare case where a hybrid Saiyan was born with a tail. Actually, the only case of that. Now, another thing is, would this affect Gohan's power at all? The reason I mention this is because a lot of people theorize this is why Goten and Trunks were so strong and able to go Super Saiyan so easily, but that's probably not the case. This was explained way later on in Super, but the existence of S cells is what makes someone transform into Super Saiyan much easier. I know, not the most universally loved explanation, but it's an explanation in the series, so I'm going to stick with it too. Because people used to theorize that maybe one of the reasons Goten and Trunks went Super Saiyan so easily is because Goku and Vegeta had that same ability too. But that's kind of tough to say, especially because we're not even really sure if this applies to Trunks because it depends on when Vegeta actually unlocks Super Saiyan, because Trunks could have probably been conceived before Vegeta actually went Super Saiyan. And if that's the case and Vegeta actually unlocked Super Saiyan after Trunks was conceived, that means the theory doesn't even apply to him. The whole reason I'm mentioning this is that people might think that Gohan would just be born as a Super Saiyan to begin with, and that's not the case here. Even with Goten and Trunks, they weren't born as Super Saiyans. They still did have to work for it, and even though they got it really easily, it still didn't mean that they were just instantly born with it. I feel like this is a fairly grounded and realistic approach to it too, because I know some people are probably going to ask why doesn't Gohan go Super Saiyan instantly, but this explanation is why that probably wouldn't be the case at all here. Although, at least on the bright side, this means he's still born with his tail, because that seemingly wasn't affected by the power of Goku or Vegeta. Tails being a recessive trait doesn't mean that it's going to be affected by Goku's power at all, that's just genetics. Tangent aside, that explains why Gohan's going to be largely the same here. I still think it was necessary because I don't want a bunch of people asking why isn't Gohan a Super Saiyan at birth? No, that's not happening. Following the time skip, there is still a reunion plan at Kame House, and Goku ends up going with Gohan. All seems well and good here until Raditz eventually shows up. His interaction with Piccolo goes pretty much like normal. Now, there's a chance that he could go to Goku instantly, but Goku's power is going to be so suppressed that he won't even notice it. At least not at first. So he still encounters Piccolo and then goes to find Goku right after. And when he arrives at Kame House, of course, he tries to act intimidating, and he thinks he overpowers Goku too. Especially because, judging by his scouter, Kakarot's pretty weak, which is very disappointing, especially with the fact that he doesn't even have a tail anymore, although it seems like his son does, which is how he instantly recognizes that Gohan is actually Goku's son. The fact that he has a tail, he's a hybrid Saiyan. That's an interesting thing to note, and he'll definitely have to tell Vegeta and Nappa about it. Goku learns a little bit more about his origin, and Raditz tells him to join them. Obviously, Goku declines it, but then Raditz gets aggressive. He tries to attack Krillin, but Goku blocks it easily. And Raditz notices something strange when he does this. In that brief moment where he jumped to defend Krillin, first of all, Kakarot moved really quickly, but on top of that, his power jumped a lot. He thinks his scouter's acting up because it said Kakarot's power went up to 3k. That doesn't seem right. And no, it's actually not right. That's not Goku's base strength. Right now, he's really heavily suppressed because he has no reason to fight. Well, at least not until Raditz showed up. His true base strength is actually more like 10,000. I feel like this is pretty reasonable because not only did he get better training while in Super Saiyan, but the fact that he used the Room of Spirit and Time for a little bit longer than normal even if the training wasn't really too crazy in there. And keep in mind, this is his base strength too. And I don't need to tell you that for the saga that's pretty insane. He'll fight him, but not here. So they go off to fight, and Raditz actually isn't able to take Gohan with him, which will actually work in his favor later on. Goku and Raditz start fighting in base, and Goku easily overpowers him. Raditz realizes he might be outmatched here, so he might try and pull some tricks, but at first he can't really do anything against Goku. But he does buy some time to think by telling Goku more about his origin, more about the Saiyans and more of who he is. That explains a lot, the fact that he was born with a tail, and the fact that he was able to transform into a great ape, which also makes him realize that he was the one to kill Grandpa Gohan. He learns the fact that there's 3 of them alive right now, Raditz, Vegeta, and Nappa, and 4 if you include Goku. And yeah, I know, Tarble, Paragus, and Broly too, but no one knows about them. The main reason he's trying to get some time here is because he has his hand behind his back, charging an artificial moon. This is going to be an easy way to win. Gohan might have a tail, but he's not here at the moment, and Goku doesn't have a tail, which means that Raditz can transform and he won't have to worry about anyone else fighting him. No matter how strong Kakarot is, he won't be able to defeat a great ape when he can't transform into one himself. It seems like Raditz is about to back down, but before he concedes defeat, he then shows his hand, literally and figuratively. He has an artificial moon charged in it, and he flings it up into the sky. He tells Kakarot he'd give him one more chance before he tries to kill him. Join the Saiyans now or die. Goku watches as Raditz transforms. He didn't know they could just do that on a whim. It must be that weird glowing orb he made. But Goku doesn't feel scared or anything. He feels excited. He finally has an opponent that actually might be able to challenge him a bit. He'll have to gauge Raditz's power first, but he might actually have a reason to use Super Goku in a fight. With Raditz as a great ape, he's a giant target, and he is noticeably stronger. Goku does try and fight in base for a bit, but it doesn't end up working. So he has no choice but to use his true power. He thanks Raditz for the fight, but knowing that Raditz is an actual threat here, he unfortunately can't hold back any longer and enjoy this battle. He would love to fight Raditz again though. Quickly he transforms into his Super Saiyan, stunning Raditz. His hair's golden. Like, Raditz is actually frozen in place. Is this a Super Saiyan? No, there's no way. That's not what this is. But he doesn't know how else to explain it. And Goku could tell that, judging by his reaction, he's never seen this form before. He says that's kind of a bummer because he was hoping to learn more about this. Once Raditz explained that he's actually an alien, Goku thought that maybe this means that this form is because of that. And maybe it's something that Saiyans can use. He was honestly kind of worried that Raditz had it himself, but clearly he doesn't. Raditz still doesn't know what to say. And he doesn't say anything, but deep down he knows that's what it is. It's the Super Saiyan form. It's not some sort of legend, it's a transformation, and of all people, Kakarot's the one to have it. And Raditz actually is unlucky enough to face off against it. Goku quickly is able to defeat Raditz. And Raditz doesn't try to fight back here. He simply just tries to retreat. And that's for a few reasons. For one, he knows he obviously can't win here. 2, Kakarot's power could help him in the future, not only because he might be a Super Saiyan, but the fact that he's so strong as is. So even if that's not what the power is, the fact that Kakarot's that strong could really help him out against Frieza, so the best option now is to not antagonize him anymore. And on top of that, he's actually able to escape here because Goku sees that he's not as big of a threat as he thought. Sure, Raditz is powerful, but he was able to defeat Great Ape Raditz pretty easily, and in the process he actually did cut off Raditz's tail to ensure he won't transform again. Also, to make sure he de-transforms in the first place, because apparently according to Raditz, that's what helps him transform. He thanks Raditz for giving him more info on that. He probably would have figured that out anyways because he got his tail removed and wasn't able to transform anymore. But with Raditz explaining so much about the Saiyans and why Goku can't transform, as well as the importance of the tail, that helped Goku later on in the fight. And you might be wondering, why doesn't Goku kill Raditz here like he did before? Well, this is another thing that works in Raditz's favor. For one, since the fight went so differently, first of all, he's way weaker than Goku, so Goku's not concerned about him fighting back. 2. Raditz never actually tried to trick Goku. He was losing against Goku and then just transformed after the fact. It's not like in the main story where Goku went after his tail and then Raditz lied to him to escape, and immediately tried to kill him after the fact. But another thing that works in his favor is that he never was able to kidnap Gohan. The only person in any danger at the moment was Goku, and he wasn't even really in any danger. He was able to handle this on his own pretty easily. Raditz tells his younger brother that he's just going to leave the planet, and Goku lets him go. He knows that those other Saiyans probably will show up eventually too, but he's not too concerned. Judging by Raditz's reaction to Super Goku, he's never seen that type of power before, so that means Goku's probably way stronger than his friends as well. Even if Raditz shows up with his friends, that's not going to be a problem. And that's if he even comes back. Raditz knows that this is a losing battle, even if he brings Vegeta and Nappa back here too. Of course, they saw all of this over the Scouter too, and they realize it's probably not the best idea to go to Earth right now. They're going to regroup with Raditz immediately and plan something else. Goku watches as Raditz departs, and someone else then shows up, about to shoot down the ship, but Goku stops him. It's Piccolo. He was actually watching the whole time, all the way back at Kame House too, and he heard everything. But why would he let Raditz go? Is it because that guy's his brother? And Goku says no, that didn't even cross his mind. Judging by how that guy acted, that's no brother of his. But even so, that's not the reason Goku let him go. And Piccolo tells him that he does realize the other Saiyans might show up again. It might not just be Raditz next time. He doesn't know if or when they'll show up, but there's no way Raditz is just going to let that go. They definitely came here for a reason. They wanted Goku to join them for a reason, so they probably will be back. And Goku's not too concerned. And if the other Saiyans do show up, he'll defeat them as well. Plus, he has a ton of good friends to help him. Piccolo thinks it's best they prepare, and Goku thinks that might be a good idea. Even though he can handle himself, he needs to make sure his friends can too. Still, he's not entirely concerned about the Saiyans, but now that Piccolo mentions it, it might be worth preparing. They don't know if and when the Saiyans will come back, and for all they know, they might be stronger. Goku needs to be prepared as well, despite him defeating Raditz so easily here. As they think of what to do next, this is where we'll end off for now. What do you guys think of this part and what's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel and shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.